coming to you today from the desert outside of Quartzsite, Arizona, near Dome Rock, which you can see off there in the background. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about my new tow rig, my new Towed, which is a 2015 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Prior to the Rubicon, I had a 2003 Jeep Liberty, which we had modified with a locker and a mild lift to allow us to do some off-road adventures while we were traveling. But by no means is it capable of things such as this. Okay, so as I said, it's a 2015 Jeep Wrangler. It's the Rubicon model, and one of the reasons I seeked out a Rubicon model is from the factory they already have some things installed that make it very capable for trail use. So it has Dana 44 front and rear axles equipped with electric locking differentials, and it has an electric disconnecting front sway bar, which is great, and it also has a low range on the transfer case, which is 4:1 ratio, which is better than the stock transfer case, which I believe is around a 2.7 or 2.9 ratio on the low range. So that makes it very capable off-road just out of the factory. But one of the things that I wanted to do was modify the Jeep enough that we could, take it on trails that were a little more difficult, not necessarily super hardcore. So I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the things that are done to this particular Wrangler that make it a great tow vehicle for me. So I'll link over to a little video that'll show kind of some of the things that I had to add myself that weren't already done to the Jeep, which includes the winch and the tow bracket and things like that. So I'll link you out, show you another video. Okay, what we have here is a Blue Ox tow plate for the Jeep Rubicon and all of its hardware, and this will allow me to attach to my Blue Ox tow bar for towing behind the RV. What we have here is a rugged trail winch mounting kit that is made to work with the Rubicon Hard Rock factory bumper, which can accept a winch but needs this plate and mounting hardware to mount the winch. And then that is a piece that goes in front of the roller fair lead for the winch that actually allows you to hook your hook onto something so it's not dangling. And then last but not least, we've got a worn Xeon 8.5 synthetic line winch that has to be installed. So we're going to try to get all these things installed this morning, and we will see how it goes. Okay, so as far as the bumpers go, this Jeep is equipped with the Rubicon Hard Rock Edition bumpers. So that bumper actually allowed me to install my worn Xeon winch right in the factory bumper. Didn't have to replace it, and had room for this adapter here, which actually holds the synthetic winch line very nicely. And one of the things I liked about keeping the stock bumper is that I could purchase one of these Blue Ox tow bar plates instead of using a new winch bumper and attaching to the shackle mounts. A lot of people attach to the shackle mounts, which is no problem, but one of the things I thought would be a good idea is if I use this Blue Ox tow bar adapter, it keeps the tow bar attached to the Jeep down low on the center of gravity of the Jeep as opposed to being up high. So it's only a few inches, but it allows me to use all the standard Blue Ox adapters and pieces for towing. And it actually keeps my tow bar level with the motorhome without having to use any adapters on the hitch itself, which I'll give you a shot right here of what it looks like when it's actually attached to the Jeep, to the motorhome. Okay, so I tried to get a low enough perspective here so you can see, but now you can see with the Jeep all hooked up to the RV, my tow bar operation is pretty much level going across there. So that makes me happy that it's nice and straight and low down on the Jeep for low center of gravity. Doesn't cost me very much in ground clearance, so this setup really works really good for me. One of the other things that are done to this Jeep is it has a Mopar Stage 3 2.5-inch suspension lift. And that lift consists of new arms. It has Fox remote reservoir shock absorbers, and it allows room for the 35-inch BF Goodrich mud terrain tires. Not a super high lift, but definitely a very capable lift. Gives me a lot of articulation, but still maintains a very factory-like ride. The Jeep actually rides fantastic. So that allows it to be a little bit higher up off the ground. And a couple of the other modifications that are done to the Jeep, the headlights, the stock headlights on Jeeps are not really that great, so this has been upgraded to the JW Speaker LED style headlights, as well as JW Speaker LED off-road lights mounted to a off-road light bar that's mounted around the windshield. So that gives this thing just a ton of light at night. I'll try to stick a little video in here that shows you an example of what this thing looks like with all the lights on. Okay, so here on the rear of the Jeep, another modification that I made was to change out the factory Jeep hinges on the tailgate, which a lot of times can weaken when you have its tire as large as the 35-inch mounted onto the standard tire carrier. So this TeraFlex bracket actually replaces the factory hinges and extends all the way behind the spare tire mount, so it gives additional support to the tire so that you're not resting completely on just the hinges of that tailgate and causing the tailgate to fail over time. And another thing that this bracket allows me to do is mount my high lift recovery jack, as well as a CB antenna directly onto this mount. So it's all very secure, very tight, and is good and structural for doing some off-roading and things like that. As many of you are aware, I also love to mountain bike, get out on the trails on the mountain bike, as well as on my Trek Navigator road bike. And one of the things that was important to me is to be able to continue to carry my bicycles inside the Jeep, not have to mount them on a hitch mounted rack outside the Jeep or outside the RV. I wanted to keep them inside. And one of the reasons I went with the 4-door Rubicon was to maintain that space. So as I'll show you here, I'm still able to mount both my mountain bike and my hybrid bike in the back of the Jeep, securely mounted to the roll bar with plenty of room inside, no issues there. And then on this side of the rear of the Jeep, I'm able to put one storage container, and this storage container carries all my tools, my air compressor, spare water, just anything I might need out on the trail, and it all stays nice and secure inside this tub, which rides nicely right here in the back of the Jeep. And I'll give you a shot of the inside from the front so you can kind of see that it leaves a lot of room still for CC, my traveling companion, to ride in the back and be comfortable. All right, well, I know this may not be the best shot ever, but here you get a chance to see how I set up the back of the Jeep for normal daily use. So the two bikes are in on that side, and you'll notice that there's a large carpeted padded area for CC to ride in the back, so it basically has her own riding area, not impacted by the bikes. And the way that I have the bikes installed actually allows me to put up half of the seat to allow passengers to ride. So I'll give you a shot of what that looks like. Okay, so as you see here, I'm actually able to put up the 60% side of the 60-40 split bench seat with the bike still inside the Jeep. So I really could still carry 4 people if needed, even with the bike still inside. So this Jeep provides a ton of room and everything fits in just right. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. All right, so as far as inside the Jeep, not really that much has changed from stock. I've added a mount here to mount my cell phone. This Jeep is equipped with navigation and Bluetooth audio, but I did install a Cobra handheld CB radio, which functions as a regular full-size CB radio, but just with everything controlled right here on the mic and a small remote unit mounted up under the dash. And I bought this nice mount for mounting it here, and that basically gives me the ability to communicate with other Jeepers while we're out on the trails. So that kind of handles communication, and the rest of the Jeep pretty much is stock inside. One other thing that was done to this Jeep is the front grille was coated in a Line-X material, which is also pretty nice when towing behind the motorhome, so that when rocks and things kick up, they're not going to chip this grille like they did on our Liberty. It was pretty chipped up from rocks and things kicked up from the RV. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. So that's kind of a summary of my 2015 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon towed And hopefully down the road here, you're going to see a lot more videos of this guy out on the trail, having some great adventures around the country. Appreciate you guys watching the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And we'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel and check back often, as we're going to keep getting more content out for you guys to enjoy. Thanks and have a great day.